Crafty Hope. I'm here for my second technique in the jewelry making for beginners series. This is actually my 7th video in this series, but it's the second basic technique we're going to go over, and that technique is making a simple loop. Previously we went over opening and closing a jump ring, which I showed that you can complete an entire piece of jewelry with just that technique. This is another technique that can be used to do an entire piece of jewelry as well. So I'm going to start by showing you some of the tools and materials you'll need. So these are the ones I'm going to start with. It's a head or an eye pin. In this case I've got an eye pin. It's got the eye on it. Some wire cutters, a round nose pliers. Chain nose pliers are optional, but I like to have them, and then a bead. So that's all you need to do this technique. So what we're going to do to make a simple loop is first thread the bead onto our eye pin, as so. Then we are going to bend the top of this wire at a 90-degree angle. Now I hold the bead and simply press down the wire until it comes to a 90-degree angle. From there we need to trim the wire. Now the technique that I use is I tend to put my finger here with the bead and the wire coming out, and I trim about a finger's width, maybe a little bit, yeah, about like that. Now I'm not real sure how that is. It's about maybe 1/4 of an inch. Let's see, maybe actually be more like 1/2 inch, if that I could actually see on that ruler. Let's see, here we go. So yeah, it's more like about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to trim that. Now when you cut any kind of wire, you are going to want to cover that end that's going to come flying off. Sometimes you can lean it into your bead mat, but you need to make sure that you are covering that wire so when it comes flying off, it does not come flying at your eyes or along the floor while you don't later pick it up with your feet, because you don't want that. You've done it, not good. So now that we have that little piece of wire there, I'm going to take our round nose pliers at the very end, the tip there of that, and we're going to line it up with that. Now you can either expose a little bit of the end of it, just a fraction of a millimeter, if I can get it on there so you can see, like so, or you can make it flush. If you make it flush, you will have a rounded loop. If you have it sticking out slightly, you will end up with more of an oval shaped loop. I'll show you that in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and with this on there, I'm going to roll my round nose pliers around until the end of that wire is touching the other piece of wire and making a loop like so. Now I can come in with my round nose pliers and make sure it is actually touching it, tighten it up a little bit, and take my flat nose or chain nose pliers and just make sure it's good and straight and flat. And that is a simple loop, all done just like that. Now I'm going to show you real quick how you can use this. You do open a simple loop just as almost the same way as you open a jump ring. In this case though, I don't often use 2 pairs of wires. I just use one. So on the side of the loop that has the opening, I use my flat nose pliers and I twist it open. And then from there I can take an ear wire with a loop on the end and slide that on, and then use the flat nose pliers again to close that loop. Again, twisting so that it's closed. And I have an earring. using just a simple loop. Another way that you can do it, and in this process I'm going to show you how you can make it oval around. So I've got a couple beads here and a couple more eye pins. Now eye pins are neat because you can make a chain out of the eye pins. With the earring, I would have typically used a head pin, especially if I'm not going to have something else dangle off the bottom of this eye pin. But I was just trying to grab something real quick and that worked perfectly. So from there I could actually open this end and hang a little charm and make an even more intricate earring. But I'm not going to do that today. You've seen the basic techniques you need there. So I'm going to take another bead and another eye pin and I'm going to slide it on, bend it at a 90-degree angle, put my finger up against it, cover the wire, and clip. Taking my round nose pliers, I am going this time I'm going to make sure that that wire is flush. So you can't see that wire sticking out at all. And I'm going to roll. Just like that. Make sure it's there. And as you can see here, that loop is fairly round because I had it flush. Now I'm going to take another one and put it on there, bend at a 90-degree angle, put my finger along it, align my wire cutters, cover and clip. And then this time I am going to have just slightly a little bit of that wire, if you can see it, let me move my fingers, sticking out from there. So from there I am going to roll it until it touches, well, and I'll take my flat nose to make sure those are aligned pretty well. And this has more, if I can get it, more of an oval shape. Now I don't know that you can tell the difference in it in these two. Let me see if I can get them so you can see them both. But I see the difference in the two. It's not a huge thing, but it's a thing. So with these two beads with the loops on them, I can make a chain. So I can open again, I showed you a minute ago, using your chain nose pliers, find the open end, twist it open, and I can take this other bead with the loop on it, slip it on and twist it closed. Now if I continue doing that, I can make a chain of simple loop beads, just like that. Now one quick tip before I do anything else is I want to point out that when you've cut your wire from either a head pin or an eye pin, you have this really nice thick piece of wire, just like this. Now I like to take these cast-offs instead of wasting this really nice wire and find the end where I cut. You can usually tell that the end that came with it tends to be nice flash and flat, whereas the end that you cut tends to have a little bit of a pointy edge. And I don't know that y'all can see that at all because I think my finger is showing more. But when you do it, you can probably see the difference. So I take that end, that more pointy cut end, and I make a simple loop on it. So I put it on my round nose pliers and I twist. Once I get to the looped end where the open end is touching that, if you can see, it kind of makes like a P or a B. You're going to want to take your pliers in there and with your finger at the outside of that loop, so my finger's out here on this outside of the loop, I'm going to turn pliers one way while push this way and give it that 90-degree bend that you would have had on there. And with that, I have my own eye pin that I have just made from that cast off. So take my head pin and, you know, my head pin, my chain nose pliers, and my eye pin, and just kind of wiggle around until it's exactly how I want it. But just like that, with a simple loop and a cast off, you have your own eye pins. So with an eye pin, let me show you again, or even with a head pin, simple loops can be great to make a pair of earrings or even some chain. Basically, they turn any bead or little finding of any kind into a charm. So it's a great simple technique. It's a simple loop. All right, guys, that is all I have for y'all for simple loops. Thank you so much for playing along in this video series. That was technique 2. I think the third technique I'm going to be doing is making a wrapped loop. It's a little more complicated than this simple loop, but I think y'all can get it. So, like, subscribe, all of that. Have a great day. I will see y'all later.